Well, hello, 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 beautiful people. Welcome to Pause, Reset, Unplugged, where we dive into unfiltered conversations about self-care, empowerment, and arts within the community. Today, I am honored to sit across with Allison Burkett, a powerhouse leader whose career and service journey is nothing short of inspiring. Allison is the director of engineering at Cinity, a part of Capgemini, which is a global leader in enterprise data management. Over her 27-year career in technology, she has held roles with major companies like PricewaterhouseCoopers and Back Office Associates. But Allison's story extends far beyond engineering. She's deeply passionate about service, with over a decade of active involvement in the Rotary Club, leadership in Habitat for Humanity, and now her work with the Karen Dale Foundation, an organization dedicated to uplifting and empowering communities and medical needs. A proud alum of Howard University and a native of Jamaica, now living in Charlotte, North Carolina, Allison embodies what it means to lead with both excellence and compassion. So today we'll talk about the heart behind the Carindale Foundation and how she balances leadership and service and her personal self-care practices that keep her grounded. Allison, welcome to Pause Reset Unplugged.
Thank you. Thank you. I almost didn't recognize I recognize myself as you read that, but thank you
And
so much.
and I summarized it, right? Because if we really wanted to get into the details, it's truly remarkable. And I'm just gonna say this even before I begin. You're such a humble individual, right?
Mhm.
Reading this, no one would ever know all these great accomplishments. So kudos to you, but I'm glad I can boast on it. Okay.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm excited to do this conversation with you.
Awesome. So now, before I usually begin, I always like to ask, are you drinking or snacking on anything at the moment?
No, no.
Okay, well, this is my boasting time. As we were talking before we began recording, I told you that
Mhm.
my stepson just came back from Guyana. So literally, I'm drinking a shandy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, from Bang, so sour
Yes,
flavor.
yes.
So I'm excited.
That's a good one. That's a good one. In Jamaica, they have sorrel flavored red stripe beer now.
Oh, really?
Yes, they do. They do.
Hey, awesome.
Which is
Mm-hmm.
different. But so it's probably, a competition to the shandy, but yes.
They all good, but it's just good to drink it. I'm usually only drinking water. So,
Oh, okay. So this
yeah.
is special.
So
This
this
is
is
special.
special. All right, so let's get into it. So let's talk about the roots of Carindale. What inspired you to establish the Carindale Foundation? Like what personal experiences or value that actually lead you to connect with the mission of the foundation?
So the first thing I will say is that if I was not a Rotarian, I would not have even thought about forming a foundation. Through my journey as a Rotarian, I learned that one person can make a difference. So in 2017, when my sister was not well in Jamaica and we were traveling the medical journey with her, I did learn a lot about the healthcare system in Jamaica, the lack of resources, um, ambulances not readily available to take them to um, places to get like MRIs and CT scans and stuff like that. So while she was going through all of that and I was getting myself educated on the healthcare system in Jamaica, I remember saying to myself, okay, when this is all said and done, um, meaning, she got better and everything, that I'm going to try to do something about it. And at the end, unfortunately, she passed away in September 2017. And then a year later, leading up to a year later, some friends, encouraged me to follow through on what I was thinking, which is starting a foundation. And so September 18th, sorry, September 7th, 2018 is when the Carindale Foundation was launched on the 1 year anniversary of my sister's passing. And her name was Karen Dale. Karen being her official name, Dale being what her family called her. So that's where we got the name. And it was formed really just to honor her memory and to see if there are things we can do to help um, in the healthcare system in Jamaica. And then also educational literacy is key in everything that we do. And really, my sister was interested in that. And so we felt like the healthcare piece of it and the educational literacy would be two ways in which we can honor her memory.
That's that's remarkable. And kudos to you, because grief and death, I'm glad you were able to put that into something meaningful that may help someone else, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah. So we know it's the foundation is rooted in service and the medical needs. Have you since the foundation has started, has there any has there been any situations that you're saying, "Wow, I can't believe we did this already within within this time frame?" And just care to elaborate and just share?
Yes. So, as I mentioned, there are two sides to the foundation. There is the
Mhm.
healthcare, and then there is educational literacy.
Mhm.
And on the healthcare side of things, we started donations during the pandemic, quite frankly. Just trying to find a way to help, as with everywhere else, especially in the islands or in developing countries. There were shortage of protective equipment and other things that we experience here in the US.
Mhm.
But, on a day to day basis, that was a normal thing for some of these developing countries, including Jamaica.
Mhm.
So we started out by donating supplies to help with that, PPE supplies and other things like that. And then we have donated some medical equipment. We've donated wheelchairs. Um, and, our goal is to be able to donate more things and create a bigger impact there. But just the fact that we were able to do those things and we got mentioned in the local newspaper for one of those things, and just knowing that we actually were able to do that, we're very grateful for that. On the educational literacy side of things, the thing that we're most proud of is that we have a Caribbean high school scholarship program in Jamaica where we give scholarships to students who graduate from the St. Anne's Bay Primary School and are going on to high school. Um, why the St. Anne's Bay Primary School? That is a school that my sister attended, that I attended. And, everything that we do, we try to kind of bring it back to why we started the foundation in the first place. So um, we started this in I think it's 2022, I believe. And we now have 28 kids in the program. We provide them with a scholarship starting with their first year of high school.
Mhm.
And if they keep their grades up and meet the attendance requirements and all of that, we renew their scholarship. And the goal is to renew their scholarships all the way through to their graduating from high school. So this past summer, we added 11 students to the mix, and we're now at 28. It's supposed to be 30, but two of the kids unfortunately didn't do their part, and we aren't able to renew their scholarship this year, but hopefully they,
Mhm,
show some improvement and we can do that. So we've given out 30 scholarships, but as of
mhm,
this summer, we're at 28. So I go down to Jamaica every year and do one-on-one meetings with the students and their parent or guardian, just to connect with them and make sure that I understand kind of what's happening with them. And also we review their grade reports throughout the year. And then this year is our second year that we did a scholarship luncheon at a local boutique hotel there. And we, one, recognize the accomplishments of the existing scholars in the program, and then we invite the new scholars into the program. Um, and then, we, just give the students an opportunity to be the guest speakers of the program,
mhm.
which has been great. The parents have been impressed. We invite the principal of the primary school and some of his staff, like the guidance counselors and the grade six coordinators, and they are just blown away at the development of their past students, and also proud of the students that get selected for the scholarship program, because we have an application process that they have to go through. And this year we had more applicants than scholarship spots available. So each student, they get 150 US dollars, which pays for their tuition for a year, tuition and fees for a year
Okay.
at the high school at which they're placed.
Okay. I love the fact that you don't just give them money, but you're hands-on.
Oh, yes, that's important.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, every time I go home for this, it just really fills my soul. It's a
Mm,
lot of work, but it just really is rewarding just to see the progress, and
mhm,
also the gratitude expressed by the parents, and just knowing that you're making a difference. That really just fills my soul. It
mm,
really, really does. So this program really started during the pandemic. We reached out to the primary school to say, hey, what can we do to help? Because, here in the US, there are some schools that the students were having issues with um, getting internet access
mm,
to
mhm.
classes online. And I thought, wow, in Jamaica, that must be challenging there, because not, data plans are expensive in Jamaica. And a lot of people have smartphones, but not really data plans.
They
They
top up.
they top up, and they try to connect to free Wi-Fi and all of that. So I reached out to the principal and I said, hey, how can we help?
Mhm,
And some of them don't have digital devices and all of that. So he said that digital devices would have been important, and data plans, money
mhm,
to. And so that's what we did. We donated some tablets,
mhm.
and we also donated funds for data plans. Um, at this year's graduation, from the primary school graduation, they actually, and I didn't even keep track of this and the years and what have you, but the kids who graduated this year from the primary school are the kids that started primary school during the pandemic.
Wow, look at that.
So some of these kids are the very kids that we helped to support during the pandemic.
Mhm,
So they mentioned that at the graduation, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't even keep track of that. So
mhm,
we did get an award in recognition of what we've done. So really proud, really proud. Right now on the healthcare side of things, My goal right now is to have some conversations with um the leadership at the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital and also the local health center, really to just assess the need and see how we can make an even greater impact. So that is the goal there. We haven't done anything on the healthcare side in recent times, but the
Mm-hmm.
goal really is to see how we can make a bigger impact than just, we've been giving stuff, but I just feel like there's more that we can do that will feel as impactful as what we're doing on the educational literacy side.
That's awesome. And I just want to piggyback on your importance in the community here as well,
Oh,
you know,
yes, 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 yes,
right?
yes.
Because you also provide a scholarship here within the community. You partner with the Caribbean International Cultural Association. So people, she she does what she says she does, and with the humble heart. So,
I think it's important to
mhm,
support where your feet are as well.
mhm, mhm,
So that's why we try to find organizations that we can partner with in our local community, which is the Charlotte metro and surrounding areas.
mhm,
So yes, we do support students, scholarship recipients through SICA, Caribbean International Cultural Association, who are planning to pursue degrees in the healthcare or related field.
mhm,
So we do that. We also have plans to kick off a mental health um, awareness program called KDF Conversations, where we get a group of people together and talk about different aspects of mental health.
I would love to be. I'm volunteering.
Yes, I'll take a note. So we're taking a little longer than usual to kick that off, but just
Mhm,
that's just because, we want to do it right, and
mhm,
we just want to normalize that conversation. We think that's important.
mhm,
So that's one thing that we're gonna do locally, and then looking for other opportunities to partner locally. One organization that we've just through my Rotary Club, we're partnering with them, which is Girl Flow. They provide period products to girls
mhm,
in the Charlotte metro area. And through my Rotary Club, we are doing a project with them where we're going to
mhm,
pack 150 period kits for distribution to Sedgefield Middle School. And in talking to the executive director of that organization, I realized, wow, maybe the Carindale Foundation could partner with them as well,
mm,
um, because it really costs, she said, $400 a year to support a school for a year with products. And in the grand scheme of things, that's not too much.
mhm,
So that's another way, we're looking into connecting with the community locally, because I think when you connect with the community locally,
mhm.
then you'll get support for the projects that we're doing in the Caribbean. It's a
Awesome,
matter of building
awesome.
awareness, of what we do, and support here as well as the Caribbean.
Love it. I love it. So we're gonna switch gears just a little bit.
Okay.
You've held leadership roles, right? For how long, right? From the Rotary Club, Habitat for Humanity, and now Carindale Foundation. So how has this community service shaped your leadership style in your career as well as your philanthropic work?
So leadership in corporate and leadership in volunteer organizations
Mm-hmm.
is different, right? It's different in the sense that in corporate, in the work world, people are in both areas. You have to figure out how to influence people and get them to do what you need them to do. That's
Mm-hmm.
essentially,
Mm-hmm.
um, in the work world, you might say it's easier because people are driven by I need a paycheck, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but you also have to figure out why are they there?
Mhm.
What do they care about? What motivates them? What gives them energy? What
Mhm.
takes
Mhm.
away the energy?
Mhm.
Um, but it's somewhat easier to get them to perform in the way you need them to perform because they want that job. They want to be there. They want the paycheck and all of that. In a volunteer organization, you still have to figure out, what drives a person, what gives them energy, what takes it away. But it's harder to motivate people in a volunteer organization because they're not getting paid. So you are banking on their passion for the mission. You're
Mhm.
banking on their heart for service.
Mhm.
And sometimes people are in it for different reasons. So you have to find out what is it that drives a person in both areas, but in the volunteer world, it's harder for you to do that because people are there for different reasons. But in all of it, leadership is showing people you care about them, because if you don't care, then they're not going to respond to you. So you care about them as a person first,
Right.
and then you get to know them on a human level. What are the things that they care about? What are the things that drive them? um, in my work world, I manage a team of up to 10 people, and I take notes. I have weekly one-on-ones, and because I start my one-on-ones with talking about your family. Like, hey, how's your family doing? How are your kids doing? You know, and I take little notes because, I can't remember everybody's story, but I'll take little notes that about things they'll tell me that, I may want to follow up on later on. So I start out with the family aspect, like, what's going on in your life that you choose to share. Then I get into the work stuff. And then I may, talk about other things, but I show them that I care about them as people first. And then that way, when I need to have the hard conversations, they realize that, I'm not picking on them or anything. I really am just, I have a business to run essentially.
Mhm.
Um, even though I work for a company, but essentially when you're managing a project or a group or whatever it is, like a mini business. And so they understand where I'm coming from with that it's not personal. It's really just, we need to meet milestones and get things done. Um, in the volunteer world, same thing. You have to connect with people. Um, People will do stuff with people that they feel a connection with. People will donate. They will, if they feel a connection to you. So they may connect to the mission of something, but if they don't, but they have a good relationship with you, even if they don't connect with the mission, they're like, oh, I really know Natalie, and she has a good heart and everything. I'm gonna support her because she asked me to, you know. So we just have to look at the human aspect of everything and start from there. Because if you don't care, and if people don't feel like you care about them, then it's gonna be challenging to lead them, and they're not gonna listen to you.
Yeah, I totally agree with the connection, mission or with that individual. Yeah. Yes, I totally agree. I'm thinking as you're talking, like,
Yes, yes, yes,
oh,
yes, yes,
it's so
yes.
true because and even every now and then you get burnt out, but
Mhm.
that connection is actually what keeps you fueled.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And even in my work life, you know, I make sure that the people that report directly to me, I make sure that they have what they need to learn and grow. Like I really put
Mm,
intention behind their growth, whether it's professionally or technically, preparing them for the next thing. Whether that next thing is at the current job or after they leave.
mhm,
Um, if they leave, it's really just saying to them, hey, you need to make sure that you um take courses that will help you, or we develop curriculum internally on my
mm,
team to prepare them for the next thing. Because just having that vision to know that down the road, certain types of technology is going to be important and they're not equipped right now. But in order for them to capitalize on that opportunity, you have to make sure that they're prepared from now. So, one of the things that I told, one of my senior managers about, I said, if I were to leave right now, I'm very proud of the legacy that I will be leaving behind because I know that I have poured into the people that report to me. I go to bat for them, I advocate for them because I care about them as human beings. And that's really important to me.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always find leaders like that. And sometimes your managers don't really like that leadership style because they tell you, oh, you're coddling your employees or whatever, your direct reports. But I tell them, I said, go ask them. I said, I don't coddle them. I said, but I don't throw them under the bus in public. I said, if there's something to be addressed, I say, hey, Natalie, can we have a talk after the stand up? And we talk about it. I don't scream at people in big meetings. I don't do that. That's not my management style.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my leadership style. So I lead with the human connection first. And then we get into the details of what we need to get done, for deadlines, milestones, and all of that.
So, okay, you give so much of yourself from a demanding career, through you work in the community and abroad. How how do you, or do you, I should say, because some people they have issues, it's a process. How do you do self-care? What's your self-care process? What does that look like? And how do you stay grounded? Or even what is your trigger that oh, Allison needs to sit back and relax for a little bit because it's needed.
And I'm smiling, and that's a tough question because
Mhm,
you talk about everything that I do from my work, from community service, and the thing that we haven't even mentioned is that I'm the primary caregiver for my parents who live with me, right? So that's the other leg of the stool, which comes with its own challenges.
mhm. And not one, but both,
Both of them,
right? Mhm,
both of them. One needs more, you know,
mhm,
care than the other, but they're both here. Um, I don't do a good job. I do not do a good job of the
mhm,
self-care. If I'm being honest,
mhm,
that's something that I continually work on. Um, the things that I do, like when I go to my Rotary related stuff, that is part of my self-care. Sounds weird, but I'm not. I step away from my house and I get to immerse myself in something that has to do with other people for a moment, and then I kind of forget about my stuff.
mhm,
Um, I do try to get as much rest as I can.
mhm.
That's challenging, but if my body is shutting down, I just let it shut down, and you know, at home here, I'll watch, you know, TV. I like to watch a lot of sports. Like just before this, I was watching the Indiana Fever Aces WNBA game. The Fever is my team, so and they won, so I'm happy about that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I watch a lot of sports, and then I like when I go home to Jamaica. Um, I've been doing this 2 years now. It just kind of happened the first year, and then this year I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm doing that again. It's because I do take my parents home at least once a year,
Mhm.
but this year when I go to do my foundation work, I go by myself and I stay at an all-inclusive resort.
There you go.
And that, daytime, I'm like doing my foundation work and everything. And then at the end of the day, I go back to the resort. I don't have to worry about meals. I and I can relax and just enjoy the view and all of that. So I started that by accident last year. And this year I'm like, yeah, I'm doing that again.
Because it's
So
needed.
yes, it's needed. And I remember the first year I did it, and I was sitting at one of their outdoor restaurants, and I was sitting there, and the sun was setting in front of me. And I sat there and I was looking at it, and I was like, wow. I'm like, like you deserve this. Like you work hard. And the fact that you get to do this, of course, I thank the Lord for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I lean heavily on my faith as well to sustain me. But I was just like, wow, Lord, thank you for this opportunity to just be sitting here
Mm-hmm.
and just taking in that beautiful sunset, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So I'm trying to do more things like that. I'm trying to, like, even when I go to see my goddaughter play for soccer and stuff, like that's part of my self-care because it kind of takes me away from the responsibilities of home for a minute. And in the beginning, especially when my parents, started living with me, I felt like I couldn't go anywhere, do anything. And there's still challenges with that because, I go and I'm worried and, all of that. But I tell myself if I don't go, then I'm kind of sitting here waiting for, you know, things to happen where I can now go. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to do that. I could be waiting forever. You don't know. So I'm really trying, to just step away for periods at a time, so that I can at least, my brain gets relaxed from, because when I'm here in the house, like you see everything that needs to be done. Um, yeah, you just like right there, and the other thing is that I also work from home. So, I have a
Okay.
job that allows me to work from home. So I'm always home. And so whenever I get to leave and go somewhere, that's, my break from all of this. Um, I used to go and get massages and stuff like that. That I tend to go through periods of yes, 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 I'm doing that consistently, and then it falls off. But I do that sometimes, and then I also work out. I try to do that in the mornings because it tends to be better doing that in the
Mm-hmm.
mornings. I do that. So I try all kinds of things. I know I could do better, but I just every morning I wake up, I thank the Lord for another day
Mm-hmm.
and thank him for just really holding me up,
Mm-hmm.
really holding me up because I won't be lying if I'll be lying if I say that it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to give myself grace and just really I need to continue to work on putting intention behind the self-care um aspect of my life.
Yeah, it's an intentional act, and like anything else, sometimes it's a struggle, you know. I
Yeah.
advocate for it, but there's times when I'm the worst person at it. So,
Hmm.
the point is when we recognize, oh no,
Hmm.
this is needed
Hmm.
because otherwise
Right,
I'm yelling at
right,
everybody or I'm
right.
snappy or yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And it's the awareness, I feel like self-care is an awareness thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
just saying, and even if you try it and then you fall off, like give yourself
Mm-hmm.
some grace, give yourself some
Yes.
grace and say, you know what, even if it's 5 minutes of something, let's just do that.
Yeah. And
Um,
this summer I tried to do other things outside of the brunch, like the hike and
mhm,
the yoga, because you
mhm,
just yes, we all love massages, we all love pedicures, manicures, but sometimes
mhm.
it doesn't take much
Yeah,
to
it really doesn't.
practice the self-care.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It really
Mhm.
doesn't. So, I'm a work in progress. Work in progress.
So, looking ahead,
Yes.
what is the vision you have for Carindale Foundation in the next I'll say 5 years, and what type of legacy do you hope that your work leaves in the community that you serve?
Oh, wow. So the future of the Carnegie Foundation, I want the Caribbean Scholars Program to grow. In 2027, because we started in with the class of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2027, we'll have our first cohort graduating, and
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be in a position to support them beyond high school.
Mm.
So if they decide to go to college and what have you, I'd love to be in a position to continue to support the high schoolers, but then also extend the support
Mm-hmm.
beyond high school. So that's one aspect of it. Um, I would love for the KDF conversations to be a thing that has grown and taken off, and we're having normalized conversation about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the healthcare side of things, I would love to have some consistency in the impact that we're making there.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, my vision is if, say, the hospital needs some major equipment like an MRI machine or a CT scanner, I want to be in the position to be able to provide that and for it to be a major impact to the community. But just to find ways in which, not just give them small donations and all of that, but
Mm-hmm.
just to find ways in which we can really, truly impact the community there. And by
Mm-hmm.
community, I mean like the St. Anne's Bay area. That's where where we're from.
Okay.
That's the area where my sister, passed away and all of that. So just finding ways for the impact to be there, not just, small donations and all of that. That's where I hope that we can be. I hope that we can grow our board, with people who believe in our mission and vision, and so that we can do, more things. And what was the other question? Sorry.
No, pretty much how do you want your legacy to be as for the Carindale Foundation and the
So
community?
the legacy, is really just creating an impact.
Mm-hmm.
The legacy is creating sustainable impact. So even for these kids that are in our program, I mean, I would be so proud, to see them graduate successfully from high school, move on to college, and then graduate from that. Like, I would
Mm-hmm.
love to be able to be alongside them in that journey.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we can do something really impactful at the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital or even at the health center in that area, where we can 5 years from now look at that and say, wow, we did that, you
Mm-hmm.
know, then that would be great. That would be great.
I do have a question for you. So, there may be others, listening to this broadcast, not necessarily from Jamaica, could be from Montserrat, could be from Antigua,
Mm-hmm.
you name it. And
Mm-hmm.
they want to do something similar to this, especially when it comes to medical. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how was it difficult? What was the process like?
To do the
To
donations
to
or to,
to well, to start this whole, to start it where you now have this impact, where you're given
Mhm,
scholarships, where
mhm.
you have this connection. Like,
Right.
how did you get people on board? How did you get the buy-in down there? To
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything is connections, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to establish a connection with the community and assess what they need. Like, you can't go in thinking, oh, I know what they need, and I'm just going to give
Mm-hmm.
them what I think they need.
Mm-hmm.
No. So philanthropy doesn't, it shouldn't work that way. And this is
Mm-hmm.
something I learned in Rotary,
Mm-hmm.
that you have to, in order for you to get buy-in from the community, you have to involve the community. So
Right.
you have to go to them and you have to say, hey, I am here to help you. How best can I help you? So you have to ask them the question, what do you need? Because we from the outside may look in and say, oh, I think they need this, this, and this, but there might be a reason why they don't have that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, The St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital doesn't have an MRI machine. There might be a reason why they don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So we started out by, I remember when we just started the foundation, I went to Jamaica, and the gentleman that was the executive director of the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital, I actually had a meeting with him. And I um, introduced myself and just talked about the mission and vision of the foundation. And I said, so tell me, kind of what you guys need. And he asked me what I thought they needed. And I said, well, based on my experience, this is what I think. But you have to let them tell you. Because if you don't, and you just assume they need certain, you're not going to get the support and the buy-in from them.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
have to start with the community and
Mm-hmm.
let the community drive the need.
Mm-hmm.
So even on the education side, I was adamant about connecting with, when we thought about it, and I said, oh man, maybe I could figure out who is the principal of the St. Anne's Bay Primary School and connect with them. So now we have a fantastic relationship with the St. Anne's Bay Primary School and the principal and their staff and everything, right? And so now, whatever I when I go down there, they allow me to use their space for meetings, and because they know I care about them, and I started with asking them, what do you need? What makes sense. When we were talking about the Caribbean High School Scholarship Program, I had a meeting with the principal of the primary school, because I'm years removed from, the system there.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hey, we're thinking about doing this. And he gave us ideas and pointers and, things we should ask for and all of that. So that all came from the community. And so even for the healthcare side of things, that's why we haven't really done anything in recent times,
Mm-hmm.
because I need to carve out the time to have more recent conversations to say, hey, we've done these things, but we would love to make a bigger impact. What do you need? And then of everything that they tell you, you also have to make sure that it aligns with your mission and vision, right? Otherwise, you're going to be all over the place. So you have to be kind of um, you have to focus on, okay, what exactly do I want to focus on? What exactly is the mission and vision of this organization? Why am I forming this organization? What are the areas of focus that I'm interested in impacting? And whatever they tell you their needs are, if it aligns with what you're thinking, then that's where you should focus.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it starts with the community that you're trying to serve.
Awesome.
Hmm.
This was a powerful conversation. It was great just hearing. I know you, and as the years go by, I can say I truly admire you.
Thank you.
Your heart of service and, just the mission for the Carindale Foundation. It just reminds you how the heart of a person can
Mhm.
really affect and create a movement, right?
It only takes one person.
It only
It only
takes
takes
one
one
person.
person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing I will say to everyone listening. It only takes one person. And it doesn't have to be this grand gesture. You
Mm-hmm.
could start small and then it could grow from there. But it only takes one person.
Awesome. So to our listeners, if they want to learn more about Carindale Foundation and ways to support or even get involved, how can they get in contact?
So we have our website, carindalefoundation.org. You could also send us an email, info, at carindalefoundation.org. And we will get back to you. We're
Awesome.
also on social media, Carindale FDN, on Instagram, on X, and also Facebook.
Great. So, Allison, thank you so much for being my guest today. She was nervous to come on, people. And you did so wonderful.
I just don't I'm never comfortable talking about, myself, but I'm very passionate about service. And so I can talk about that all day. I tell people all the time, if I didn't have a full-time job, I probably would be working in the philanthropy space. So
Well, once again, thank you for those who are tuning in to Pause Reset Unplugged. If you are out there and you would like to be a guest, or if you're interested in doing an ad or sponsorship, please, you can send an email to me at pauseresetbrunch@gmail.com, or you can contact me at 781-308-2952. So once again, until next time, please remember to pause, reset, and keep creating that space for growth, empowerment, and self-care in your own journey. Once again, Allison, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
thank you. The pleasure is all mine.